You ever hear the saying, wherever you go, there you are? Really sort of an interesting saying, isn't it? And then I decided, I played with those words a little bit, and no matter where I go, I take who I am. And when I take who I am, I attract my experience. So no matter where I'm going, I'm taking this essence that is Lee, and I express and I experience, and that experience becomes me and exudes itself through me. Because I cannot separate myself from the energy that I put out into the universe. I am that energy. So at Agape, we talk all the time that we believe that there's an infinite power and infinite presence. We call it infinite mind, we call it God, we can call it George. It doesn't matter what you call it, because it is infinite. So anything you call it will be limiting of it. But what we've understood is that we are all expressions of it, created out of it, and that it responds to us as it through our thoughts. So our mental atmosphere that we create creates our experience and creates our life. We call that the law. We call that aspect of God that responds to the nature of ourself the law. And the law always responds without judgment exactly as we are. So it doesn't care about anything. It takes exactly as we are, and it responds to us. But we've been brainwashed all of our lives into the illusion that is the world of external effects that is the cause of what we're experiencing. And the world of external effects, why is it that this effect can happen in the world, and this group of people have this experience, this group of people have this experience, this group of people have this experience, and there'll be individuals that have completely different experiences because they have a different thought. They have a different way of being in the world, and so through the focus, through the perception that they've created, they absorb in only that which they desire, which is a vibrational match. And so I was going through the science of mind, and I came across this quote by Ernest Holmes. And it said, "Never look at that which you do not want to experience." And a lot of people argue with this. I mean, as I studied this, going to become a practitioner, then going on to be a minister, a lot of people that are centered in the world of effects argue that concept. And it basically says, never look at that which you do not want to experience. It doesn't mean that you cannot see an event that happens that's horrific, but how do you see that event? Is that event the natural unfolding of consciousness raising itself to another level? Take that very same thing and take it into your individual life. Every event that has happened in your life from the time you were conceived to the time you are now has made you the individual that you are. And that there were times when you were young, you thought that it was catastrophic what was being experienced. And today when you look back, you grasp it and you understand that it wasn't catastrophic. It made you the man or woman that you are today, and without that event, you could not be that. You see, that's the key thing. And so when we come to Agape, we teach this idea that it is our thoughts that create. It's the sum total of our thoughts, the conscious and the unconscious thoughts. But people, I want to tell you, the law responds exactly to who we are, not who we want to be. You see, that's the big thing. I want to be this person who doesn't judge others. In the meantime, I'm judging others. But I expect to have an experience of a person who doesn't judge, but I'm judging others. Do you see where I'm going? We say one thing, we do another, and when we say one and we do another, what does the law see? It takes it all in, but it's saying, if you're doing it, isn't that the majority of your makeup? So the law gives you more. So, you know, I quote Ernest Holmes, and I always like to follow up with another great quote by Wolak. And I love this way that this came to me in meditation this week, where it said, step by step, as we evolve our consciousness about what we desire, the law systematically responds to us. So you've got to understand that it's a systematic unfoldment. There's a natural evolution as we shift our belief structure. Beliefs are patterns of thought that are created each and every day, and as we shift that belief structure, which takes time in human form. You didn't get your belief structure overnight. However old you are, there are people here, I don't know how old she is, 8? I'm going to guess on the end there. 8 years old, and then we've got 17. We've got someone in here probably about 80, I'm going to guess. No. She says no. That's only in body. In mind, she's a hunk. Anyway, we have different amounts of influences. But why is it that our lives don't change? Because we're stuck in a mental loop. We're in the Archie Bunker syndrome. That's good to the older people who used to watch All in the Family. But Archie Bunker was the typical middle-aged individual who worked in the loading dock. He would come home every day, sit down in his chair, yell out to his wife, "Edith, where's my beer?" And he would watch TV from his easy chair. They would have the same thing every day. It was the same pattern over and over and over again. And he never changed because he never came out of the pattern of behavior. You see, the pattern of behavior that we have can serve us or it can disserve us. You see, we are creatures of habit. Everything we do is a habit. The question I ask is it a habit you've consciously chose to build for yourself? Is it a habit that's in alignment with the desire that you most want in the world? And if it is a habit that you want and you don't have, then the question becomes, how do I begin to do that habit? And the answer is, in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. It doesn't matter. It's in any moment you desire, you get the opportunity to choose the begin of that new habit. You see, the law doesn't care what you did in the past. The law only cares about what is the mental atmosphere that you are. And so when we talk about the idea that we were born with absolute freedom, the freedom we were born with is that we create our experience through the process of how we think, through the habits of thought that we build, and we are free to change that at any time. We can change it for this or that. And guess what? The law doesn't care. It will create for Adolf Hitler. It will create for Joseph Stalin. It will create for Gandhi. It will create for Christ. It will create for Buddha. It creates according to the belief. And when a belief is believed at a deep level, and that person embodies that belief, and then others get, and they come and they align their belief with that, now you've got a collective consciousness. And if that collective consciousness takes more in and attracts more and more to it, the collective consciousness becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what happens? It has a momentum. That momentum now just doesn't change one life or two lives or three lives. It can change millions and millions and billions of lives. So that's why I say to people, what are you buying into? Don't buy into what the media is putting out there. A prime example of how the media uses to manipulate us, but doesn't come back and change things, is the idea. Do you remember not long ago that it was said in the media that Chase Bank was hacked in? And I forget how many 80 million records or something like that were stolen. And those records, it was said that there's no doubt the Chinese are hacking into it, and it's a Chinese group that's hacking into it. Right, you all heard that. It was all over mainstream, right? Everyone in the world heard that. It's labeled that as the way it is. Did you hear last week that they caught the 4 people that did it? And the 4 people are in the East Coast of the United States. These 4 people were not Chinese in any way, shape, or form. That they did indeed use some people in India who were programmers to service them. So was it the Chinese people that were hacking us? No. We've got to learn to think for ourselves. In every aspect of our lives, we've got to question everything and say, does this serve my highest vision? Because If you don't control what goes into your mind that is controlled by others will control you. Can I say that again? If you don't control what goes in your mind, which you've allowed to be controlled by others, controls you, and now you are a victim of your own choosing. So when people come to me and they say, I'm a victim, I look at them and say, choose differently. You're not held into that status, into that role. You have free choice in every single moment. I was taking my dog Bailey. I have this dog Bailey. And Bailey's a free spirit. She's a yellow lab, and she is just a spunky little doodle. Well, you have these thin leashes. And have you ever noticed that somehow the leash in the middle of it will get a knot? And if you don't do anything with it, as the dog, 72 pounds, pulls on that leash, what happens to the leash? It goes real tight, right? And the knot gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And if you let it go a week, you can't undo the knot. And then what else can happen? Another week goes by and you're going along and you're grabbing the leash. Another knot goes into the leash. And then you're going along and it pulls, and now that knot gets tighter. So you've got a knot from a week before, and that knot's like this. And you got another knot that's over like this, and all of a sudden, that leash is not the leash it was. It's the same thing for our minds. If you get a thought in your mind that's not where you want to be, and you don't change it, it becomes further and further knotted into your unconscious patterns of thought. And when it does that, it's more and more difficult to change. A habit that is reinforced over and over and over again becomes something that we do not ever question. You see, and until we question, we cannot begin to change. You see, change is something that is natural. It's always going to be happening. The question is, are you directing your change? Do you have a clear vision of what it is you want to be, what it is you want to do, how it is you want to bring your unique gift into this world? Because who you are determines where you are. So when you become the who, the where accepts you. It's not that you get to where it is, and then you become the who. You've got to become the who to be where. And so beware. Beware of the ideas that are being fed all around you. Be selective in who you allow into your inner sanctum. Beware who you share your dreams with. Beware who you let tell you their stories and you buy into. Beware of the news media. Beware of the comics. Beware of the comedian. Beware of your parents. Beware of everything. Because let me just say this. You were not brought into this world to please your mom and dad. You were not brought into this world to please your parents. You were not brought into this world to please a religion. You were not brought into this world to please a political party. You were not brought into this world to please anyone, but to be your unique and authentic self. One of my favorite affirmations that I do every day, this is one of the big ones. I embrace my uniqueness and I accept and live my life authentically. You see, when we embrace the uniqueness that we are and we accept ourselves and we live authentically, is that not self-love? Is that not living agape? Yes. See, that's what we do here. All we ever do at Agape is we teach how to better self-love through conscious living. Conscious living means being able to look and focus on that thought in that moment and question, does it serve my highest vision? Great question. When someone says something, does that serve my highest vision? Does that action serve my highest vision? Does being with this group serve my highest vision? Does doing this serve my highest vision? If the answer is no, self-love and say, I'm doing something else. I'm being with something else. I'm being someone else. You see, the power is right where you are. Wake up. It's not in the person next to you. It's not in the person on the platform talking. The power is you. I want you to see yourselves through my eyes. I want you to see how magnificent you are. I want you to see that I can see for you anything that you desire because you are unlimited possibility. With unlimited possibility, all you have to do is focus, and you collapse one of those response or possibilities into experience. I invite you to try it. I guarantee if you are persistent and consistent with your practice, your life will be a creation that when you die, when you pass into the next realm, whatever that might be, you'll say, this life was good. More importantly, you can say, I did it my way. Isn't that the best way to go? I did it my way. So in the being brought up in the Catholic religion, I heard this: thy will be done. That's a God outside. How about my will be done? The God that is in. Make the thy the my, and understand that you cannot separate the thy and the my, but empower that within you and let the will that you've chosen to be the unique Christ, the unique Buddha, the unique Krishna, and allow that to express in your lives today. Let's pray. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.